Want to learn how one of our users is closing 2.5 times the national average of deals from pay-per-click leads? Watch this video. I'm Lee with REI BlackBook, and here on our channel we discuss all things marketing and tech for real estate investors. So if that sounds like something you want to learn more about, be sure to subscribe to our channel and click that bell to be notified every time we put out a new video. One of our very favorite ways to serve real estate investors is through our REI Bootcamp events. And today we're sharing a clip from a past bootcamp with expert trainer and investor Andy Warner. Andy has over 20 years of investing experience and has been wildly successful in scaling his business. In fact, at one point he even closed 1,000 deals in a 12-month period. And in this clip, he's talking about the secret sauce that he and his team use to close deals coming in from leads from pay-per-click advertising at 2.5 times the rate of the national average. Before I hand you over to Andy though, let's talk for a moment about what it is that makes pay-per-click such a powerful mode of lead generation for real estate investors. The first thing is that people are actually searching for your services online rather than you going and searching for leads. Pay-per-click ads drive immediate results. They pull in quality traffic and will dramatically boost the traffic to your website. Pay-per-click traffic is very likely to convert. Pay-per-click ads increase revenue, sales, and leads. Remember, with no leads, there are no sales. The results are measurable. Pay-per-click advertising formats are actually better than organic listings on Google. They're extremely targeted, are smarter than other forms of advertising, and will help you gain the market share. Pay-per-click advertising spend is very controllable. You only pay when somebody actually clicks on your ad. Pay-per-click leads come in real time, which is huge. And lastly, pay-per-click ads have very finite testing capabilities. I want to ask you a quick question before we jump into the training. Have you ever experimented with running pay-per-click ads, and what were your biggest challenges? Let us know in the comments. Now that we've talked about why pay-per-click advertising is an incredibly powerful source of lead generation for real estate investors, I'm going to hand you over to Andy and let him tell you how he and his team are closing deals at a much higher rate than the national average. Let's get to the good stuff.
Success with pay-per-click is more than running ads. It's really the systems that are in place to capture, contact, nurture, and convert your leads. All right. So that's your success with pay-per-click. So remember at the beginning of this presentation, I said to you guys, look, you have to be prepared to call back these leads when they fill out your form as quick as possible. Sometimes they'll call right to you because, as you saw on my previous thing here, well, you can't see it in these ads, but typically part of these ads here, it will show my phone number. All right. So if they click on that, they could just call right through. So sometimes they don't even fill out a web form. That only happens maybe, I don't know, 15% of the time roughly. All right. So they might just call me right through, but typically they'll fill out the web form as opposed to calling. But you've got to be prepared to call them back as fast as possible. So that's the first part of being able to run this system properly so that you're going to beat your competition. Because I promise you, no matter what market you're in, even if it's the smallest little market out there, there's probably somebody else who's running ads for houses, right? Okay, so if you're going to compete against them, there's nothing wrong with competition. You've got to be better than them. And the first thing comes with being able to get them on the phone first, right? Be in front of them before anybody else. The second thing is, and this is true of all situations with marketing when you're dealing directly with what I'll call the distressed seller or the person who needs to sell quickly, is we have to do a great job of building rapport, being interested in them, not interested in ourselves, right? Not being interested even in the house. Yes, we need to get that information, but being interested in their situation, because when we build rapport with somebody else, that absolutely brings trust to the relationship that is very new and very fragile at this point. And by having trust, as we all know, we do business with people who we know and trust, all right? So my system really is my competitive advantage. Now, obviously I use REI BlackBook. Damon's got me on here, not because I use some other system, but I do use REI BlackBook. I use AdWords Nerds, as he mentioned before. All of my leads go into my REI BlackBook, probably one of these tabs you can see open up here on my screen. Yep, there's my REI BlackBook amongst all these other thousands of tabs I've got up on my screen here is REI BlackBook, because we put all of our leads there, right? We do our follow-up there. We put our notes in there. We actually do our emails out to our buyers list out of there. We do text messaging out of there. I run out of minutes in my REI BlackBook on a monthly basis, and I'm constantly having to add more minutes, and I'm at the highest package that REI BlackBook sells, all right? So my system is partly REI BlackBook, but it's also calling back fast, all right? It's also building rapport, and it's spending time nurturing these leads, because these are the highest quality lead that you can possibly get. Again, if you're running the ads properly and you're using the right keywords. All right, so I'm going to show you a couple of deals here, not to try and impress you, but I just want to help you see like the kind of deals that we're getting. Again, I'm not saying this to try and brag or anything like that about the money here or anything like that. I want you guys to see it is very, very well known that Phoenix Metro is probably the most competitive real estate investing market in the country. We've got a gazillion wholesalers and fix and flippers here. This is kind of, I don't know, the mecca for education as well, where you've got, you know, lots of big name people that are in the education space. They're here and they're teaching you about real estate investing and education constantly. So this is a super, super competitive market, and yet we're still pulling off some of these deals. So here's a deal in Scottsdale, Arizona. You'd be surprised that you can actually get a deal in Scottsdale, Arizona, but we absolutely could. Okay, we got this property under contract, as you can see right here on the left-hand side of the screen, for $404,300. All right, now it's this 1950s built house in what we'll call Old Town Scottsdale. All right, the lady who lived here, she passed away. Her daughter, who had grown up in the house, but she's a grown woman now and who no longer lived in the house, when her mom died on a Sunday, she contacted us on a Tuesday. No kidding. All right. Now, we were not the only one competing for this property. There was one other company that she had contacted besides us, which was really rare to have it only be two. But in this case, there was only two. The other gentleman offered $22,000 more than we offered on this particular property. And we got it. Now, how is it that we got it? Well, the reason why we got it as opposed to that other gentleman is because we, and when I say we, it was my really, really, really great acquisitions manager who was there on the appointment, was meeting with her and whatever. He sat down and took time to get to know her. He walked through the house. He complimented things in the house to her. He loved on her with love and grace. Is almost as silly as that sounds. He cared for her. Right? He did it in a way that was very kind, very loving. She noticed it. She commented on it. I think they even had a cry together. No kidding. I mean, literally, like, they cried together because her mom had just passed so recently, and it wasn't a fake thing for him. I mean, he was going through an issue with his mom at the time, who was in the hospital battling cancer, and so it was a little bit of emotional time for him, and so he had a lot of empathy with her, and she chose to go with us. Not because we were the highest offer. I want you to hear that. It's so, so, so important. She decided to go with us because we did a better job of caring for her. We did a better job of getting to know her and her situation and what was going on with her, where the other party, the other company, came in, was rushed, had to leave early, didn't spend much time getting to know her, you know, more or less was like, you know, like it's a piece of meat kind of thing. And as far as the house was concerned, gave her an offer, and then that was that, right? So she ends up going with us. Well, as you can see at the bottom there, we ended up wholesaling this property and making $55,700. That's paid right off on the HUD-1 settlement statement. That was just in August of this year. So 55 grand, just over 55 grand in an actual wholesale fee. Like, we didn't pay for this property. Our investor paid for this property, and he's happy to get this deal because he's going to go fix this up. He's going to make a mint on it, and he's going to go resell this. I think the resale value of this is probably in the low 700s. So, I mean, this is a home run for all of us. Now, this needs a full-on massive remodel, so this guy's going to put in a lot of work, but kind of gives you an idea. All right, here's another one we did. All right, now we're in the problem-solving business. Okay, real estate investing and dealing with sellers is the problem-solving business. So this is one we did in July. You can see that we made $40,000 there on the HUD. This is in Mesa, Arizona. But that wasn't really our net. In this particular instance, this gentleman needed help moving, all right? He needed help moving to Ohio. So we helped solve this challenge by hiring movers for him. Now, we didn't have to pay for all of it. It wasn't like we were able to move him completely for only $4,600. But we came to the table with some money in the beginning to kind of get him going. We helped handle the logistics of hiring the moving company. He had to move the items from the house that you see in front of you, as well as a storage facility that was off-site. And we had to coordinate getting the trucks over there and the movers over there to get stuff out of the storage facility and then come load up his house and then get all that on a truck and out to Ohio where he was moving and get all this done. And at the same time, wholesale the house. So that's why we got paid the big bucks, right? Because we solved a problem that nobody else was able to figure out and solve. See, most people will tell you that their problem when they call you, whether it's pay-per-click advertising or anything else, they'll tell you that their problem is the house. The house is never, ever, ever the problem. Their problem is something else. And it's our job to get underneath of it, to understand them, to learn about them, to be able to really get close enough to them to figure out what that problem is. Because once we can figure out that, then we can figure out whether or not that's something we can solve for them or not. This became very, very simple. This guy, his brother had passed away, all right? So here's another deceased situation, but he lives in the house. But most of the items in the house, he'd been living with his brother for years, and they were like thick as thieves, good friends, but most of the items were like collectibles that his brother had been collecting over the years. He wanted to get everything back to Ohio where the rest of the family lived so that they could all go through those things together and decide what they wanted or what they were going to sell, all right? So it was really important to him to honor his brother in that way. Well, would we have ever figured that out if we just walked through and just looked at this house and said, we'll give you this? Never, right? So that's why we never go into a house and just immediately go, we'll pay you this, right? We get to know them. We spend time with them. And you might say, hey, Andy, that takes way too much time. Would you do it for a little while so that you can get paid $35,400 ultimately? You bet you would, right? It's about spending that time to get to know somebody. Now, closing 1 out of 6.5 leads generated by pay-per-click. That's what my team is doing right now. So the national average is 1 in 10. It might even be a little bit worse than that. That's probably generous. So we're closing about 1 out of every 6.5. Now that has to do with the fact that we've gotten really, really good at building rapport, spending time with people, getting to know them, learning, very good sales techniques as far as solving people's problems and being able to marry that situation with whatever that is that's going to help us either get the deal or at least point them in the direction of something that's going to truly help them, right? So sometimes we're just referring it off to a realtor. They have a real retail situation and our price is too low and that's not going to work. Okay, well, maybe we can refer you off over here. Maybe just make a referral connection for that, maybe even a referral fee out of that if that works for us. So, by building that rapport, it allows us to be that good.
Pretty insightful stuff, right? If you want to learn from an incredible lineup of guest experts and trainers like Andy, be sure to click the link in the description below to learn more about our upcoming bootcamp. So I want to know, what was your biggest takeaway from Andy's story? Let us know in the comments below. Once again, guys, my name is Lee with REI BlackBook. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.